So I have some news that's kind of, say, parallel to what's been going on with the job situation. I still haven't heard about when my replacement's going to show up. But while I'm waiting, it turns out another one of my coworkers who joined at the same time as me, obviously showed up first, but still same wave, let's put it that way, is quitting. He's trying to get out of his contract now and is anticipating probably being out by the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. Now, I kind of mixed feelings about this. Um, because as I've said, I understand it's terrible work, terrible work, and I don't know why anyone would want to keep doing this if they had other opportunities. There is a much less generous part of me that says this just kind of confirms what I knew. He was running around the country trying to take trips all the time, and he went everywhere he wanted to go and saw all the sights and ate all the food, and now he's bored and he just wants to leave because he was never serious about this. And I have to admit, I don't necessarily have the most respect for people like that. But the third part comes in and says that right there, if you have a choice, that is probably the way to do it. Because once upon a time, that was the way I saw this. But back when I was 22 years old, I was just trying to, I guess, learn something about the world, but also be interesting. Americans very obsessed with other people thinking they're interesting. And I've discovered that it is not worth the pain it takes. But for him, this is really just a business opportunity. He can go back home. He can get another job from, presumably he has coworkers, connections from his previous life. But for me, this was a serious endeavor. I had made a plan after, basically, the story of it was, in short, was my intention had always been to work overseas for a while, come back and work at the university from which I'd graduated. And they ended up not only rejecting me about it, when I finally did, in the mid 2010s, not only did they reject me about 80 times, they ended up blacklisting me. And after that, I kind of made a decision that I didn't really see any point in staying in the United States anymore because Americans just did not seem to see any value in me. They saw me as useless. They saw me as creepy and weird and awful. And I just thought, why am I going to stick around? And so I kind of intended to stay outside of the country indefinitely for that reason, simply because there's no benefit for me being there. China did not work out. I was over there 4.5 years. But honestly, I kind of think about it now. Even if I had taken the job that I ended up losing because everything went to hell, I would have been over there probably 6 years, and then I'd be in the same position. You cannot stay in China forever. It's simply how it is. Very, very difficult. I never actually wanted to return there. I was angling because I was trying to stay out indefinitely. I was trying to get into Japan, where it's a little bit easier to stay long term, but it has gotten incredibly hard just to get into the country over about the past decade odd. So I was kind of torn between one country where it's easy to get in, impossible to stay, and one where it's easy to stay, impossible to get in. So I kind of saw Korea as maybe being the middle ground, as a place where I could actually build the kind of life I wanted to, but was never going to be able to do in the PRC. And clearly that's not going to happen. Not with conditions like this. Now, I'd like to think that there is a path for it, but I look around and I have a hard time imagining that there is a path for me. It just really seems like this is as far as I'm going to go. And I am worried that any job I get is going to be like this. It might not be as awful. They might be kind enough to not starve me to death and let me have dinner, for God's sake. But any job I have is going to probably entail much of the same bullshit. And it's going to be the kind of thing where there's not going to be a lot of opportunities stemming off it. So it's just going to be the kind of thing I do year to year for as long as I need to support myself. And that's about it. So that's where it is. Um, I haven't actually gotten any job offers yet either, so I'm waiting on that. And this video's probably gone on long enough. So good night, everyone, and hopefully your life is making a little more sense than mine is.